Hello, everyone. It's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another episode of the Voices from the Shadow Realm podcast. This is episode 3, and I am so honored to have another wonderful guest here with us, and that is the lovely Barrett Leddy, the voice of Akira in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and the voice of Gavin in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Barrett, thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Dylan. It's great to be here. Are we on the radio right now?
A little Uncle Wayne in there, which for those of you that have been watching my channel, that's where you're famous for your Uncle Wayne character.
Absolutely.
There might be some people who only know you as Uncle Wayne, and now they're like, "Oh, I know who this guy is."
Hey, Uncle Wayne, baby. He's gonna get his own show one day.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll
see. We'll see. Barrett, it's so great to have you on. I'm so fortunate to have become friends with you over these last few years, and I just want to kind of start these interviews as I have the past 2 episodes with Daniel and Emily, just kind of letting you introduce yourself, what Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters you voiced, if there's any other maybe projects that you want to promote. The floor is all yours to just give a quick Barrett Leddy introduction.
Oh, well, thank you. It's great to be here. My name is Barrett Leddy. I am a voice actor, singer, comedian, audiobook narrator, award-winning audiobook narrator, I should say.
Gotta throw that in.
Always tell people your awards. And in Yu-Gi-Oh!, since this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast primarily, I'll just start by saying that I voiced Akira Zaizen in the English dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. I voice Gavin Sogetsu, who you may know as Gakuto, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, the English dub, as well as Tyler Getz. And I'm also in Pokemon. I play Inteleon, Elaine, Ash's Rotom Phone, Ammonite, Amistar, Shieldon, all sorts of Wickstrom, all sorts of fun characters. I'm in a bunch of other anime, Bungo and Alchemist, Number 24, Genshin Impact. I play opposite Natasha Lyonne in Space, 1969, an Audible original written by the great Bill Oakley. And most recently, I play the voice of Yugioh the Parrot in Lego Disney Princess The Castle Quest, now streaming on Disney Plus, opposite some amazing Disney legends, Jodie Benson and Richard White and Jim Cummings, just to name a few. And that has been an amazing project. Everyone has been so awesome in their response to it. But today, we're here to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! So forget that other stuff.
Well, we're not going to forget it. I'm going to ask you.
Forget it.
Yeah, we'll forget it temporarily.
Right.
Temporarily. Temporarily. I definitely want to ask you about that, and congratulations on that role, because there's a deep meaning there for you, and we'll get into that a little later on. But I do want to start with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because obviously, as you've said, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast.
Sure.
And once again, thank you for coming on. So you voiced, I'd say the 2 main characters that you voiced, Akira Zaizen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and then, of course, Gavin in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, who I feel are 2 drastically different characters, not only in terms of personalities, but also age, where they are in life. You have one that's an elementary school student, and then you have another that's pretty much like almost a CEO of this massive tech company. So
hot CEO.
You couldn't have voiced, I would argue, 2 more separate characters.
Yes.
So what were like some challenges going from Akira to Gavin, if there were any? Did you feel more comfortable playing one versus the other? Like, how was that experience?
Hey, before I answer that, do you look at the camera while you're doing one of these, or yourself?
It's a great question, because I've done a lot of interviews.
Yeah.
I always, and even when I interview for like a job, I always look at the camera. I never look at myself. I never look at the person I'm talking to. I always look at the camera.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna look at the camera.
Okay. Do whatever's comfortable for you. I mean, it's fine.
I'm gonna look at myself. Okay. I just can't. Okay. I just can't. Okay. So, playing these 2 drastically different characters. Well, first of all, Akira was my first ever role in an anime, and maybe possibly even the first role I did in any form of animation.
Yeah.
It was extremely exciting to be a part of that. Having grown up on Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm sure a lot of your other guests and voice actors you've spoken to in the past, we're all sort of in that pocket where we grew up with the show as well as Pokemon. We lived through the excitement and the big Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh crazes, which in many ways have come back even stronger in the last few years. So we sort of fulfilled this childhood dream of getting to work on these properties. For Akira, I really felt like I never feel like the roles I play are a super far cry from me. It's just like, I just try to find myself in that moment, and play and have fun. And, it's like, they're all the characters. I feel like the way I think about it is like, they're all just me, Barrett, in those particular circumstances.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And, so like with Akira, I just kind of had to like place myself in that world and just be like, well, okay, what would like a CEO, a young hotshot CEO with all this, or not CEO, but technology officer.
Yeah.
What would he do in this situation with all this pressure on him? And he's so young, and he's trying to take care of the sister, and he's got, and I think really once you think about his objectives and his goals, and this hand he's been dealt, it's easier to like start getting into that mindset. And the same thing with Gavin. I mean, these were drastically different. So whereas Akira, I would say, was 99% serious all the time.
Yeah.
Every now and then we saw a little crack in his facade where maybe a little humanity would come out. Maybe some of those moments with Sky, or some of those, moments where he's facing a lot of trouble at work. We kind of saw the facade break, but he was pretty calm, cool, and collected. With Gavin, it was totally different because Darren Dunstan just let me go nuts with this character. I mean, one of the first lines, a line that we say to each other all the time is just, him and I quote this all the time. At one point, someone asks Gavin, like, "Oh, is that wrong? Is that against the rules?" And Gavin just says, "Very!" as kind of just like, as loudly as possible. And I think that was the first moment where we realized how unhinged this character would be. And then over the course of the show, I felt like Gavin became more serious. Like, I felt like those wackier moments were kind of became more rare as like the pressure started building up and Rush Duel started getting more threatened. I've really blown past your question and given a whole synopsis of the show, but
that's all right. I know now we're talking about what the show is about.
Yes. Anyway, so that, I think, again, two different shows, two completely different scenarios, but very interesting to explore both of those characters.
Did you feel one was easier to get into than the other?
Just because of the vocal quality that Gavin required, is more vocally demanding, I felt Akira was easier to get into.
Yeah, fair.
Just it was kind of in one place the whole time, more or less.
Whereas Gavin's all, depending on what the mood is.
Had so many peaks and valleys. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really cool, man. Kind of another question of your personal preference between playing both of these characters. You said Gavin may have been a little difficult, a little more difficult than Akira, but which character did you have more fun voicing? And I know this is tough because I know you off camera. I know you really genuinely loved both of these characters.
Love them, but I gotta say, Gavin is just like so me. And just so like wacky and out there, and like I could be a lot more daring with my deliveries and just my instincts with Gavin. It felt like more of like my playground, getting to work on Gavin. There was a lot, like the parameters were a lot wider.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean some of those lines that you delivered as Gavin is just so good. And I think that was something that was really special about the English dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, which actually, funny enough, at the time of recording this, I believe the final episode for the dub was released yesterday. So that dub just came to an end. Obviously, people are wondering about the next series, and we'll see what's in store when it comes to Go Rush. But I thought Gavin was one of the highlights of the Sevens dub. I thought you did an incredible job, and I think your true personality definitely, your unhinged personality definitely came out with Gavin.
I'm notorious in the booth for making myself laugh.
I could see that, yeah.
I'll be on a call with Darren when he's directing me, and I just make myself laugh, and I'll have to be like, "Sorry, Darren, I let me stop for a second. I'm laughing at what I just did because I think it's funny and brilliant." I just have so much fun working on it. It's
now,
great.
this was not a question actually that I sent to you early, so this is a bit of gotcha journalism, which I always try to avoid. But
I like that.
But you mentioned Darren Dunstan, and I want to just quickly focus on him a little bit because Emily, who obviously, for those of you that maybe missed the last episode, she voiced Sky Zaizen in the Vrains dub. She also credited Darren Dunstan and had such high praise to say about him.
We all love Darren.
Yeah, I mean, he's just seems like he's just an absolutely wonderful voice director, right? That's his role. He's the voice director.
The voice director. And I think what makes him so effective is that having come from an acting background, he understands what actors like comfort. He knows how to get a certain performance out of an actor without, beating them into it, essentially. Yep. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there are some directors who don't let you figure out your lines organically, right. And they kind of like, they'll either give you a line read, they're not as Darren lets your creativity really shine for each individual actor. He lets us bring our individuality and uniqueness to the roles we play because every actor has different instincts, and those are going to lend themselves differently depending on the characters that we play. So Darren is great at tapping into that.
Yeah, no, he seems to have done really a great job, especially with these last two dubs, Vrains and Sevens, which I've very much enjoyed. I think a lot of people have really enjoyed them. And that's something that I've also noticed a little bit. I'm not asking you to talk too much about like the behind the scenes stuff, but it seems like there is a decent bit more like improv than most people would assume, right? Most people would probably assume that the script is there, you have to follow it. But Emily said that there was a line or two that she kind of had from Darren that was like, just say whatever you ate for dinner tonight or last night, and we'll go with that. So, I mean, has that been your experience as well? There is a little bit of room for improv from you and the actors.
So much, so much.
That's
and a lot
awesome.
of it is, when it comes to improv, a lot of it is just like extra, like maybe a laugh thrown in there or a stutter or some, like it's not always words or lines, although I have contributed several. I wish I could remember. There have been so many. When I see them, I remember.
Right.
But yeah, just like little like a weird laugh or a weird run. Like sometimes Darren will be like, okay, you're going to run over here. And he won't expect to get like a and I'll just hear laughter at the end of the phone. And he's just like, I just wasn't expecting to hear that. So yeah, it's those little things, and it's fun because it's like the little choices we made. Like I think about cartoons that I can mimic to this day that I saw 20 years ago, and it was those particular choices that like stay cemented forever. And it's so funny that like just in this moment in a booth, I can make a choice and that'll live on. And it's like,
oh yeah,
that's permanent forever. And that's the way people will remember it because of this moment, this particular choice I made. That's a really interesting, feature of acting.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, improv is, I think, an element that a lot of people probably feel doesn't necessarily exist all that much in dubs or in voice, but it obviously does. So that's
Yeah.
super cool. Yeah, appreciate you sharing that with me, man.
Sure.
So another question I want to ask pertaining to Yu-Gi-Oh! You also have the distinct experience of voicing a character that duels in the master rule setting, which is what we were used to with Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first 6 shows. And then you have a character that duels in the rush duel setting, which is kind of the new style of Yu-Gi-Oh! Gameplay that we've seen in Sevens and now Go Rush. And it seems like that's where the focus has been with the anime for the last couple of years. So do you have a preference? And you might split some fans here because this is a pretty, people get pretty intense about this. Do you have a preference between either of the styles? Was there one that you felt was just kind of more easy or more fun to voice?
I will say, and I know this might be, a non-committal answer, but I don't have a preference. I'll tell you the difference I felt in working on both was that having grown up with the Master Duel style, it was really fun to get to do that as Akira a couple of times because, it was like, wow, I'm doing what I watched as a kid. But the Rush Duel format was new and exciting and something that, people hadn't seen before. So it was equally fun to work on that. So I don't think I have a preference. Both were unique and fun in their own ways.
Yeah, no, it's a really good answer. Yeah, it's a good answer. And also with Akira, I mean, your deck name is like Tin Dangle, which I always felt like that was one of the coolest deck names ever. He didn't win very much, but he had a cool deck.
Tin Dangle, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's honestly what matters more. No, but good answer. Not. It was non-committal, but you know what? If you genuinely felt like you enjoyed both of them equally, it's a very honest answer. So I think that's totally valid.
Honest man.
He is. Barrett is maybe a little too honest, but he's one of the most honest people you will ever meet.
Nice shirt.
Do you remember when we were in New York City and as we were walking, it was not my birthday for reference of this story, you would just yell over at random groups of people and say, hey, it's this guy's birthday. And then people would be like, yeah, try to guess how old he is. And then I'd be stuck in a conversation with strangers while you walked away on Wall Street. Yeah, I remember that vividly. And you did it also when we were in an elevator, which was one of the more awkward. We were going up like 20 floors at the hotel, and we were on like, the 4th floor. And I'm just in my own head like, please don't say anything, Barrett. And I just hear Barrett go, so it's this guy's birthday. You guys want to guess how old he is? The cardinal sin of talking to people in an elevator. Yeah.
Oh, because you're trapped with them and they have no choice.
Yeah, and that's why it's a cardinal sin.
And we're all just like tourists who didn't want to be bothered.
that is a great memory.
Great memory.
Yeah, great memory. So I do want to actually do a non-Yu-Gi-Oh question here for you, man. There might be, again, some people that don't really know you too well. And for those that don't know you, Gilbert Gottfried was obviously a huge inspiration for you. I'm not sure if he was your biggest inspiration. I'm going to let you talk about that in just a little bit. Obviously, he passed away not too long ago. And you recently announced, I mean, literally, I think within the last few days, right, that you are voicing a character that he made famous. There it is on screen. The bird from Aladdin. So, I mean, how did that come to be? What did Gilbert Gottfried mean to you and your career here? And just if you could talk about that, man, that would be awesome.
Gilbert was really everything to me. I mean, comedically a genius. I know I'm not going to do the full thing just because I could talk about Gilbert all night.
Yeah.
But I mean, beyond the voice, beyond the strange on-stage persona, had just like a crazy brilliant mind and was so inventive and daring. And he said crazy inappropriate things, but never with malice.
Yeah.
And always just for fun. Who can go farther? It was always just like a contest between him and other comics, and he was just daring who could say the craziest thing, and he never meant any harm by it. Never, like he was the sweetest guy, sweet family guy, like, such a family man. He has a wonderful wife and 2 awesome kids. And, he was just this larger than life persona, but really just a genuine, quiet, nice guy. When I had the pleasure of meeting him a few times. And so, he's always been such a huge inspiration to me. And when he sadly passed away of a rather unknown, it's a very rare disease. It's called myotonic dystrophy type 2. And maybe we could put a link in the comments where people, or in the description.
I'll do it, pinned comment and description.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And for a donation. But it's this opportunity kind of presented itself. It actually sort of happened by fate. I was in LA, and I was visiting my friends, Sarah Natacheni, the voice of Ash Ketchum, of course.
Yep.
And we went to a restaurant, and there was a casting director there, and I was introduced to him by Rachel Slotky, who actually she played Hayami, Akira Zaizen's assistant. So it kind of was this all like full circle thing. And she mentioned, hey, this is Barrett. He does a great Gilbert Gottfried impression. And this agent, Sam Frischman, said, they're actually looking for someone to voice Yugioh. And so, I got the audition. I sent it in. This was like May of 2022. I waited the whole summer. It's so rough when you're like, God, did I get this? Did I get this as an actor? And 3 months go by. I hear nothing. Then all of a sudden, in like August, they're like, you got the part. And you're going to record it in September. So I recorded, and it was amazing. And it was so much fun to work with the people from Disney and from Lego. And I just had a wonderful time. I was ad-libbing. I was doing all sorts of like parrot noises. And oh my God, it was so fun. And then, again, you play the waiting game. It doesn't come out for like another year.
So you got to hold that information.
You got to hold that. You got to be like, and sometimes you're like, look what happened with like the movie Batgirl, like things just get like on the chopping block for no reason. So you're like kind of like you'd never want to say something's out or something's official until it's out and it's on a streaming service or it's in the theaters. You never want to like put the cart before the horse. So when it finally does come out, it's just like it's everyone has been so kind. Gilbert's wife was so sweet about it. I mean, everyone has been very, very nice, and I'm very grateful. I'm very proud of the work we did. I have a nice, healthy little cameo in the movie. I hope you all check it out. It's a really, really fun time.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I'm certainly going to be checking it out. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom. Starting with Akira, to see how far you've come and now voicing really what's got to be just like under unfortunate circumstances, obviously, but just like a dream scenario for you. So like congratulations on that. And yeah, we're all gonna be, I'm sure, checking it out if we haven't already. So yeah, that's awesome. Proud of you, man. Now we're gonna go from serious to really, really goofy. So I do an After Dark podcast. I think you've been on it. Friday Night Fun we did once.
Friday Night Fun. Yeah, that's kind of a variant of the After Dark. We haven't done that in years. Well, I did an After Dark podcast a few weeks ago, and on that podcast, it was asked, would you rather have $100,000 or dinner with Akira Zaizen? Now, I picked dinner with Akira Zaizen. I justified it. I've slept on it many, many nights, and I still feel like that is the right answer. As the man who brought Akira to life in the English dub, what are your thoughts on that pick? Do you think that's a good pick? No, I don't think so. No. First of all, whether he's I don't think Akira Zaizen is fun enough to want to have dinner with him. What is he going to talk about?
No. But
had a bad day at Soul Tech.
Barrett, it's not about whether he's enjoyable to hang out with. It's about the connections, the networking. I mean, if you hit it off with him,
you might get a job at Soltech.
yeah, and he hires you to be his assistant, Hayami, I mean, I don't know if her job is very secure. And so if you end up getting that role, I think you're going to be making pretty good money, health benefits. That was my rationale.
Am I going to be making more than 100,000?
Well, no, but okay. Well, let's say you make 70,000 a year. Isn't that over the long run better than 100,000?
I mean, you got to think about also costs of living. You know,
that's true.
Like 100,000 straight up tax free.
That's true.
Like that you might. It kind of might be. I also don't want to work in his office.
Yeah, that was a toxic work environment as well. That was not good.
You got your bosses are big chess pieces.
Yeah, right. Queen, who was horrible. Yeah, I didn't think about that part of it, right? Because he's just your supervisor. Also,
what is he gonna do? Like, he's rich somehow. Like, he's very rich.
Do you remember you told me a few years ago it would be a great video idea if me and you did a breakdown of what his tax returns look like?
Yeah. I still think we could do that with the different Yu-Gi-Ohs, I
mean, I think we probably could do that because if you look at his apartment, I mean, he's got to have like a 3-bedroom, like almost penthouse suite.
We could have a video and we could call it like W2-Gio. Like W2.
Yeah, no, I got the pun. Yeah. So, all right,
and
but
different, characters and what kind of tax.
Yeah, I think that would be good. But it's good and sad to know that the man behind Akira does not think I made the right decision on that. So
if someone said dinner with me, like you know what I mean? Like if someone's like, "Hey Barrett, I was given the option of dinner with you or $100,000," I'd be like, take the money.
Well, yeah. In that question, I would also take the money for what it's worth. But
why, you don't want to have dinner with me?
No. Well, I can have dinner with you for free, which I'm grateful for that. But no, I mean, listen, the Akira choice is all about connections and growth opportunity.
Why would you want an opportunity that was gross?
Well, yeah, I don't know I don't know if it's gross or net. I don't know what it is. But anyway, man, I want to end with a question I always end with, and Zoom is about to kick us out in 4 minutes, so make sure you answer decently quickly. Your overall thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh, the community, and would you like to voice some Yu-Gi-Oh characters, whether it be maybe Duel Links? Seven's World got announced for Duel Links, which we'll see what they do with that, but it would be, I'm sure you would love to reprise Gavin if that's a possibility for you. What are your thoughts, man, on Yu-Gi-Oh and this community?
Yu-Gi-Oh in general?
Yeah.
I love the Yu-Gi-Oh community. They've always been awesome. It's really, and it really has been a lot of the positivity I've received from the Yu-Gi-Oh community has been because of your channel. And I think your channel, no, for real, I think your channel is a very positive presence in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and I don't think you get enough credit for it. And so I love this community. Every time I meet people at conventions, I've been gifted cards, I've been gifted fan art, I've been, everyone's been very generous with their time and their words. I've made friends through this. I mean, I officiated the wedding of a couple who cosplayed as my character, Akira, and Hayami. So, this is like just a wonderful, wonderful community that I'm very happy to be a part of. And I hope to continue being a part of.
Yeah, I hope so too. And shout out to our friends as well, because I was at that wedding and great time. And
Nina and Christina.
Nina and Christina, shout out to.
Don't be mad if I don't say their names.
Yeah,
okay.
No, I didn't. Yeah, okay. I didn't know if they wanted us to, but I'm sure they
give out their phone numbers.
Okay. All right. Listen, Barrett, I appreciate the kind words about the channel here, my channel. It means a lot.
So
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Man, this has been a great time. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you're listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube, thank you so much for supporting this series. This has been Voices from the Shadow Realm, Episode 3, Barrett Leddy, the voice of Gavin and Akira, and some others in the Yu-Gi-Oh! English dubs of Seven's Vrains, respectively. And you voiced Akira. Oh, no, Akira's not in Duel Links, right? Yeah, no, that has not happened yet.
Don't remind me.
Hopefully one day. Hopefully one day. So, actually, it'll be funny. You might end up doing Gavin if that's the opportunity you get before Akira. So we'll see. We'll see what's in store with Duel Links, but exciting stuff there. Any final quick thoughts here, Barrett?
No, thanks for having me. Go and check out BarrettLeddy.com. It's got all my stuff on it at Barrett Leddy across all socials. Lego Disney Princess The Castle Quest now streaming on Disney Plus, and make sure you check out Space 1969 only on Audible. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Barrett, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. I will have all of Barrett's information and projects, and of course, if you want to donate to that, the fund that was mentioned earlier, I will have that in the pinned comment as well. Thank you, Barrett Leddy, so much for coming on. This has been Voices from the Shadow Realm, Episode 3. Thank you all so much.
From the Shadow Realm.
Thank you all.
Not voices.
All right, we got less than a minute. Thank you.
Theme song.
Actually, honestly, record that. We'll make it the theme. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys. Good night.
Bye.